How much solar do you actually need to run a 750 square foot home? Most people guess. This video gives you the real math. Welcome back to Contain Your Life. If planning your build feels overwhelming, this is the tool that changes that. The Off-Grid Planner. The Off-Grid Build Planning Checklist and the Moving Planner exist for exactly this reason. These aren't generic templates. They break your entire build down into a step-by-step plan so nothing gets missed and nothing catches you off guard halfway through. Most builders wish they'd found something like this before they started. And since a solar and heating setup is only as good as your backup plan, the Off-Grid Property Emergency Action Plan covers what to do when things go wrong. Power outages, storms, and the situations you hope you never face but need to be ready for anyway. So if you're serious about staying organized and actually finishing your build without the guesswork, these are the resources worth having in hand. Links are all in the description below. Today, you're getting a full guide to solar, sizing your system, the best panels and batteries on the market right now, climate and positioning, costs, hemisphere and peak sun hours, setup, and grid tie-in rules. The first number you need is your daily energy use in kilowatt hours. List every appliance, its wattage, and how many hours a day it runs. Add it all up. For the purpose of this video, we are looking at a 750 square foot off-grid home. That list may include a fridge, stove, washer, dryer, dishwasher, and hot water tank or tankless system, plus lights, cameras, a water pump, small electronics, and appliances. Running all of that on electric alone can push your daily use well past 6 kilowatt hours, typically landing somewhere between 15 and 30 kilowatt hours a day. Most off-grid builders use propane for the stove, dryer, and hot water to keep the electric load manageable. Once you know your daily use, then you can calculate the size of your panel array to produce that much power during average sun hours, plus extra to cover cloudy days and charge your battery bank. Peak sun hours matter more than total daylight. This is the number of hours your panels receive strong, direct sunlight each day, and it varies a lot by location. Most of the US and southern Canada average 4 to 6 peak sun hours a day. Desert climates run higher. Northern and cloudy regions run lower. Here's the formula. Take your daily kilowatt hour need, divide it by your peak sun hours, and that gives you the system size in kilowatts you need to install. For example, 20 kilowatt hours divided by 5 peak sun hours equals a 4 kilowatt solar array. That 4 kilowatt number is your starting point. Battery charging losses in cloudy days mean most builders add 20 to 30% more panel capacity on top of that base number. For panels, TOPCon technology is the current sweet spot. It runs 22 to 24% efficiency and gives you the best balance of performance and price. Premium back contact panels reach 24 to 25% efficiency, but cost significantly more. Unless your roof space is extremely limited, TOPCon panels deliver more value per dollar. Temperature coefficient matters too. Panels lose some efficiency as they heat up, so if you're building somewhere hot, look for a panel with a low temperature coefficient rating. For batteries, lithium iron phosphate, known as LiFeO4, is the current standard. It handles thousands of charge cycles, needs almost no maintenance, and lasts 10 to 15 years. For a whole home setup like this 750 square foot build, 48-volt battery systems are the standard. Higher voltage means lower current, thinner wiring, less heat, and an easier system to expand later. Portable systems like Bluetti have earned a strong reputation too, especially for hurricane preparedness and van life setups where flexibility matters as much as raw capacity. A portable setup like this can scale with folding panels and additional battery packs, giving you emergency backup at home and power on the road in the same system. If you're shopping outside the US, brands like SOK offer Canadian-owned support and warranty coverage, which is worth checking if local service matters to you. Your hemisphere determines which direction your panels should face. In the northern hemisphere, panels face true south. In the southern hemisphere, they face true north. Panel tilt should roughly match your latitude for the best year-round performance. Steeper angles favor winter sun, flatter angles favor summer sun. Positioning matters as much as angle. Even partial shade from a tree or a neighboring structure can significantly cut your system's output, so scout your site carefully before building. Climate affects your numbers too. Hot desert climates get strong sun, but panels run less efficient in the heat. Cold, sunny climates often outperform expectations since panels like cooler air. Snow and heavy dust both block production. If you're in a snowy region, plan for a steeper panel angle so snow slides off instead of piling up. Most people investing in home solar systems today are rural homeowners, retirees looking to cut fixed costs, and off-grid or small footprint builders planning for full energy independence. A complete off-grid kit size for a 750 square foot home, including panels, battery, inverter, and charge controller, typically runs from around $8,000 to over $20,000 depending on battery capacity. New construction is the cheapest time to plan your solar and battery wiring. Retrofitting later adds labor costs for access, rewiring, and working around finished walls. When you're designing your system, decide upfront if you want full off-grid independence, a hybrid setup with grid backup, or a portable emergency system layered on top of grid power. Every system needs a charge controller between your panels and battery bank. It regulates voltage and protects your battery from overcharging. We'll also need an inverter to convert the battery's stored DC power into the AC power your appliances actually use. Planning these components into your build early, rather than adding them later, keeps your wiring clean and your system easier to expand down the road. Setup starts with mounting your racking system to the roof or a ground mount, angled to match your latitude and facing the correct direction for your hemisphere. Panels get wired together in series or parallel, depending on your voltage needs. Then run to the charge controller before reaching your battery bank. Your battery bank needs a dry, temperature-stable space. Extreme heat or cold shortens battery life, so avoid installing it in an uninsulated shed or attic. From the battery bank, the inverter connects into your home's electrical panel. Most modern systems include app-based monitoring, so you can track production, battery level, and usage in real time from your phone. Even on a DIY build, having a licensed electrician review your final connections is worth it. It catches mistakes before they become safety issues. If you're tying into the grid instead of going fully off-grid, your utility company will require a permit and an approved interconnection agreement before you can connect. Net metering lets you send excess power back to the grid in exchange for credit on your bill. The rate you're credited depends entirely on your state and utility. Some areas offer full retail credit for the power you send back. Others only offer a reduced rate. And a few utilities don't offer net metering at all, so check locally first. The federal tax credit that once covered 30% of a homeowner's solar costs has expired for systems bought with cash or a loan. It no longer applies going forward. State-level programs are where the real savings are now. Many states still offer their own tax credits, rebates, and property tax exemptions for solar installations. Since these programs vary so much by location, checking your state's energy office or a renewable incentive database before you build is worth the time. Whether you're building fully off-grid, adding a hybrid backup, or just prepping for storm season, understanding these numbers puts you in control of your own power. If this helped you plan your build, then check out the Off-Grid Planner, the Off-Grid Build Planning Checklist, the Off-Grid Emergency Planner, the Downsizing and Moving Planner. You will find the links in the description, and they can help you map out the rest of your project step by step. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated.